We have finally arrived at the end of this round of World Cup qualifiers, the Socceroos, with the ultimate test here, taking on Japan and Saudi Arabia over the next couple weeks. Crucial matches. We are on the brink of World Cup qualification once again. Can we get it done? We'll be previewing these two games, talking about what we could see from the Socceroos in terms of a lineup, and we'd love to hear from you guys as well. Feel free to join the conversation in the comment section as always. Taking on Japan and Saudi Arabia, first of all, this Thursday in Perth. Great to have the Socceroos back in Perth once again, taking on Japan. Looking back at the last time these two teams met, of course, at the back end of last year. An impressive result for Australia at the time, really, a 1-1 draw for the Socceroos over there in Japan. Of course, we remember we scored first in that game and really matched Japan really well in that game. Defensively, very, very strong in that match. And the previous game between Australia and Saudi Arabia, 0-0 in Melbourne. And as we look at the standings heading into these final couple match days of qualifiers, you can see Australia really close to qualification here. If we get a positive result against Japan first up, and if Saudi Arabia lose that first game against Bahrain, Australia, we could seal our place in the World Cup this week, which is pretty exciting, but it may well come down to that Saudi Arabia game. That final game against Saudi Arabia next week could really be a playoff match to decide who goes through automatically to the World Cup. And of course, if we do miss out on the top two, the dream is not over. Third and fourth place go through to another round of qualifiers. So let's talk about Australia. What can we see from the Socceroos? Well, first of all, looking at the squad that was announced over the weekend from Tony Popovic. We've got a dedicated video diving into this squad, which we put out yesterday. Feel free to check that out. But this team is, look, there's some interesting calls there. We will say that, and we talked about it in that video. Goalkeepers, no surprises there. Defense looking pretty solid overall. Obviously got Casey Boss coming into the squad. Alessandro Ciccardi returning from an injury is a big one. Paul Ocon-Engsler, a bit of a surprise call up here, the young midfielder, especially ahead of the likes of Max Ballard. And obviously there's been a lot of talk around Nectar Triantis at the moment. Metcalf, Teague, Yazbek, Caceres are the midfield options in there as well. And then very curious to see how the Socceroos will line up in terms of formation. I'll show you guys in a sec what I think we will see in the end in terms of formation. But you look at those attackers there. There are plenty of promising players there. Strikers, Mitch Duke, Taggart, Borrello, Toure. The wide positions, Boyle, Arzani, McGree, Tilio. And of course, a number of these players can play a variety of positions as well. So of course, these players aren't locked into these positions. So here's a look at what we may see for a starting 11 for the Socceroos. I think there's a chance we do see a 4-4-2. Now, just to touch on formation, first of all, we have seen Tony Popovic during his time as Socceroos head coach so far deploy a back three central defenders. Now, I get the sense, again, this is just my own speculation, but I get the sense that we will not see that back three in these couple games here. I think it will be a back four, and that comes down to the fact that there hasn't been as many defenders named in this team. There's more midfielders. There's plenty of attackers. There's really, four strikers there for Australia. So it could be a 4-3-3, but I think it may well be a 4-4-2. But for me, this is what it looks like. Matt Ryan in goals. I think he does get the nod. He's been in good form at the RC Lens over there in France. The back four. Now some interesting selections here. I'm going Miller right back. He's been very, very good for the Socceroos in recent months. Ciccardi, Rolls, and Bajic there as well. I would put Alessandro Ciccardi in there. I mean, he's just recently returned from a long injury layoff, but he's a top player, man, and he's playing at a really good level at over there at Parma in Italy. So I think he partners Kai Rolls. Kai Rolls has been getting plenty of game time for DC United in the MLS. And as is Bajic, coming off winning the grand final, the A-League Men's Championship with Melbourne City, I think he does start there ahead of the younger Casey Boss. I'm picking out two midfield players to start in the centre of the park, Aidan O'Neill and Connor Metcalf. I like that partnership. Obviously, we're missing Jackson Irvine due to injury, which is a big blow for the Socceroos, but I think that is the midfield pair that we will see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Popovic does throw Anthony Caceres in there. He provides something different as well, but O'Neill, Metcalf, two hard-working midfield players. Wide positions, I've got McGree out on that left and Boyle on the right. Boyle's coming off a really, really good season for Hibs. And then the front two of Taggart and Borrello, you've got Adam Taggart playing in Perth, of course, the city of his club, Perth Glory. And Brandon Borrello as well provides something different, very mobile, loves to press. I think out of the strikers that we have available to us for this window, I would go for those two guys to start as well. You've got Duke and Toure who could come off the bench as well. And if that is indeed the starting 11 for the Socceroos, this is what the subs bench could look like. Of course, Izzo and Gauchi, the goalkeepers, a very good defensive backup there. I mean, Gary, Deganek, True, and Burgess Boss. I'm feeling pretty confident with that defensive backup there. Of course, as we know Harry Suter at the moment due to injury. Midfielders there, Paul Ocon-Engsler, Yazbek, Caceres, Teague, again, all could come in and have an impact in this game. Different sort of midfield players there, all of them as well. And then you got your forwards there. Daniel Larzani's had a good season for Melbourne Victory, and again, provides a little bit of X factor in a wide position. Mitch Duke and Mo Toure could be backup strikers, and Marco Tilio, who's, again, part of that championship winning squad with Melbourne City. Very, very good in recent months for City, so I wouldn't be surprised if he is a bit of a super sub to come off the bench. In terms of my final prediction for what we will see from the scorelines for this game, I'm backing Australia to qualify automatically for the World Cup after these next couple games. I think against Japan, now, a lot of talk has been around Japan and the squad that they have announced for this window of matches, and the fact that they have rested a lot of their strongest players. So that might provide a bit of an opportunity for Australia to get a result against Japan, which would be a huge effort. And I'll tell you what, I think we get it done. I think we do just have enough in the end. Look, this isn't our strongest squad that we have, but I think we are capable of getting a result on home soil. So I think we will do it. I'm going to say 2-1 to Australia in that first game. Traveling away to Saudi Arabia, really tough test. They'll be looking to qualify automatically for the World Cup as well, so they'll be super eager to win there on home soil. But Australia, I think we have enough defensively to hold on to at least a 1-1 draw in that game. So the question is for you guys, are Australia automatically qualifying for the World Cup over the next couple of weeks, or are we going to slip out and have to go through another round of World Cup qualifiers? Let me know in the comments, and what would you like to see from the Socceroos in terms of personnel, players featuring in this game? Who's going to step up for Australia in these important matches? Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit subscribe to stay up to date to the Socceroos content here on the channel. My name's Lockie. Hit the like button on the way out, and I'll see you in the next one.